Hello, my name is Dr. Scott Young with Hearing Solutions Centers, and today we're going to talk about one-ear hearing loss and this weird thing called head shadow. Coming right up. Okay, now most people have hearing loss like I do. I have a mild to moderate hearing loss, and it happens in both ears. Now, there can always be a little differences right or left. There's things that can happen, but it normally happens that way. 80% of the hearing losses that occur happen in both ears, and they can be slightly different, and it's not that huge of a deal. But yet, some people don't have that. Let me give you an example of a guy that actually experienced a dramatic change in his hearing, just like that. So I'm a World War II buff, and he was one of those guys that did a lot of that island hopping. So in the jungles, and I don't know which one it was. It could have been Iwo Jima, it could have been Okinawa, it could have been Philippines, Saipan. I'm not sure exactly which one of those. But he's crawling around in the jungle, and he's moving forward, and there's a bamboo shoot. Now, bamboo shoots have a real huge opening, so when they would fall down or get blown out, he just was crawling by and happened to crawl by one, and he said a Japanese soldier had thrown out a grenade, and it shot right to his left ear. Now, what happened is this dramatic and instantaneous hearing loss in that left ear. But what he didn't realize that sound traveled over the head to the right ear and hurt his hearing there. And he kept thinking that his left ear is dead, but we need to do something about that. But he didn't realize that it affected his right ear. Just because something happens on one side, it doesn't mean that it couldn't affect the other side. And we're talking about a grenade, which could be anywhere from 175, depending, and maybe through that little chute opening, it could have been 200, 225 decibels. I mean, that's a huge amount of sound. When I checked him out, he was dead on this one side. I mean, completely gone on that ear. But he had a severe to profound hearing loss on that right side. And so what he was experiencing is what we see with a lot of our patients. Whether they have one ear is perfect and the other ear has a hearing loss, that happens. Viral infections can affect that. It's called viral neuronitis. What happens is that these people walk in and they get really sick, they get very, very dizzy, and then boom, it drops off. And so, I've had people argue with me that how it happens. It just happens more instantaneous. But the reality that occurs with that is that we'll lose out a part of our world. It's like walking around like this. And so we lose out on half of our world, but it really affects us much more significantly than just losing an eye. See, losing an eye will help us loses that ability to perceive things over on this side. But when we lose hearing, we miss out even if we have perfect ear and a dead ear. What will happen to a person is this thing called the head shadow effect. And problems in noisy places. So if they have that one side, they can't process it because the brainstem is processing sounds together. It collates them. And as it goes up to the brain and how the brain will analyze it on the left side of your head, you'll analyze it based upon how the cells actually talk to one another. And they're calculating. It's a complicated calculation that is going on inside of them. Now, when we have head shadow effects, the people that are talking over here are shadowed over here or even taken away. And so we have some of that problem. Now, when we have an asymmetrical hearing loss, what will happen is that someone will talk over here and they feel like, you just never can talk that side. You have to get on my good side and have that communication. Now, what can you do with a person who has one ear that's completely wiped out and the other ear has a couple different ways of handling it? So for instance, there's this thing called the CROS, C-R-O-S, contralateral routing of the signal. So what contralateral routing the signal, one of the companies that did this is Tulsa. It's an old company that's defunct. And what they did is they came up with a way that they would send the signal that would happen over here to the right ear. So you'd have a little wire, and nowadays it's wireless, but it would go over to the other side and send the signal from this side. Now, for crosses are okay for some people. They normally have to have a normal ear here and a dead ear over here. The problem that happens a little bit more significantly is when the person has hearing loss here, like our person that was in the Japanese jungles, and so in the island hopping of World War II, and so he's dead over here, but he would have this problem on this side. So what they do is called a bicross, which means both ears. So this side would send it over to the right ear, and the right ear would amplify from its side. And so sometimes this works very well for people, but I'm going to tell you the truth. It is like a love-hate relationship. If some people, they will listen to it and hate it. They will never like it because it sounds so funny to them, and they never can get used to it no matter what they do. And there are other people that will love it because they love having the sound available over here, and their brain can kind of tune this stuff. And it becomes an issue that is a really big problem, and maybe something that could be wonderful for them. And we've never had it in between. It's a love-hate relationship. They either works really well or doesn't work really well. So what would you do? Well, I might then just put one hearing aid over here and ignore that side, and they have to realize that's what happens. And I just fit. I have a lady named Sharon, and she's had a dead right ear forever and ever. I've seen her for a long time, and now she's got a really severe hearing loss over here, a severe to profound. So we need to put a really heavy, powerful hearing aid to be able to do that. And so that's some of the stuff that happens with head shadow and all this other issues that kind of go on. One ear hearing loss really needs an audiologist. You cannot see the hearing aid dealer. You need to see an audiologist because only he or she is going to be able to find those issues that make a difference for you, because there's other things that we're also going to test for to find out if there's not a problem going on. So thank you so much. I appreciate you listening to me, and like us, subscribe, ask the questions down below. We'll talk to you later.